Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating visual puzzle. We've got two super famous statues, made thousands of miles and over 1,000 years apart, yet they strike almost the exact same pose. But as we're about to find out, the ideas they represent, well, they couldn't be more different. So on one side, you have the raw, muscular, tense energy of the West's The Thinker. And on the other, you've got the calm, graceful, serene form of the East's pensive bodhisattva. I mean, both are clearly lost in a moment of deep thought, hand to chin. But that similarity, it might just be skin deep.
And that right there is the big question, isn't it? Is the intense mental struggle of the thinker the same as the quiet, contemplative state of the bodhisattva? The answer you'll find reveals a huge split between two very different ways of seeing the world.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the dates. Rodin's Thinker is from around 1880, but the Bodhisattva, that was created way back around 600 AD. That's a gap of almost 1,500 years. So we're not just comparing two pieces of art, we're actually taking a trip through centuries of human philosophy.
All right, let's start with the one you probably know best, the famous figure from the West, Rodin's masterpiece. To really get what he's all about, we need to understand the philosophical ground he's sitting on. You've probably heard this famous line from René Descartes. It's pretty much the foundation of modern Western thought. The whole idea is that the very act of thinking is what proves you exist. And Rodin's statue, it's often seen as the perfect physical symbol of that idea. A man literally wrestling with his own mind to prove he's real. So in this Western way of looking at it, thought, or 생각 in Korean as you see here, isn't some quiet, passive thing. Oh no, it's an active, almost forceful process. It's your mind working hard to prove it's alive, and it's all tied up with the ego, with self-awareness, and with that big, scary question of our own mortality. And you can see where this leads, right? When your thinking is all about the individual self, the ego, and the basic drive to survive, it becomes this powerful engine for changing the world around you. It's a mindset that's all about solving problems, building things, controlling your environment. It's the very engine that created our material civilization. Now, let's completely switch gears and head over to the East. We're leaving that world of tense muscles and struggle, and we're entering a world of total serenity with the pensive bodhisattva. I mean, just look at the difference here. The thinker is all rough edges and power, but the bodhisattva is smooth, sleek, and just radiates this incredible calm. And that little smile, it's not a smile of struggle, it's one of deep, profound peace. This isn't someone fighting to prove they exist. It's a being who just is. And this gets us right to the heart of the Eastern idea of contemplation, or Sayu in Korean. See, unlike that active struggle of Western thought, Sayu is not about confirming the ego, it's about moving beyond it. It's a state that aims to go past our basic survival instincts, to touch something higher, something like pure reason or spiritual enlightenment. So the really crucial point here is that this inward journey creates a totally different kind of civilization. When the whole point is to transcend the self instead of empowering it, the result isn't a world built on material stuff, but one built on spiritual growth and inner peace. This chart just lays it all out so clearly. On the left, you've got thought. It's focused on the ego, and it leads to a material world. On the right, you have contemplation. It's focused on the spirit, and it leads to a spiritual world. Two statues, one pose, but they represent two completely different realities. Okay, now we get to what is, for me, the most incredible part of this whole story. For centuries, these two worlds, East and West, grew up pretty much separate from each other. But then, in the 20th century, they suddenly crashed into each other inside the mind of one of Europe's greatest philosophers. Just take a look at this timeline. The Bodhisattva existed for over 1,000 years before Descartes even put pen to paper. Then, fast forward to 1942, right in the middle of World War II, and a single photograph suddenly bridges that enormous gap in time and space. The person who saw that photograph was Karl Jaspers, a total giant of German existentialist philosophy. One of his students from the Far East showed him this simple black and white picture of the pensive bodhisattva, and his reaction was just immediate and profound. His first response was just pure shock. He saw in this ancient Korean statue the physical form of an idea he had been chasing his entire career,
the ideal of a completed human existence. It was like his most abstract, complex theories had been carved into stone 1,300 years before he was even born.
But it went even deeper than that for him. Jaspers realized this wasn't just a beautiful piece of art. He saw it as proof that a human could actually reach a state beyond time itself, where something eternal and universal could shine through in a simple, quiet facial expression.
And this brings us to his final jaw-dropping conclusion. For Jaspers, the statue wasn't just showing a philosophy, it was philosophy. He believed this single image was the most perfect and complete answer to the biggest question we all ask. What does it even mean to be human?
So, what are we supposed to make of this incredible moment of connection? Why was this brilliant Western thinker so completely blown away by an Eastern statue? Well, it brings us right back to our main theme. That cultural shock he felt, it was him suddenly, deeply, and viscerally getting the massive difference between these two ways of being. You see, he'd spent his whole life exploring the world of thought, a world of ego, struggle, and becoming. And in one single moment, he was face to face with the world of contemplation, a state of pure, enlightened being. And listen, this isn't just some dusty old art history lesson. This collision of worldviews, the active material drive of the West meeting the contemplative spiritual foundation of the East, that's basically the story of our modern world. The way these two powerful ideas have mixed and evolved is what continues to make us who we are today. And that leaves us with one last question, and this one is for you. In our crazy, hyper-connected world with information flying at us 24/7, always demanding that we do something, which of these two ancient paths do we need more? Is it the focused problem-solving power of thought, or is it the quiet, transcendent peace of contemplation? It's definitely something to think about, or maybe to contemplate. Thanks for joining me.